Hello, Algebra 2. You guys have a solving for your rational equations section of this unit right now. 7.3, go ahead and label the top of your paper. We are going to solve rational equations, and we're also going to look at a real-life application as well, all right? So, first example, we're going to start off a little bit basic. You guys probably remember that anytime you have two fractions equal to each other, we solve by cross multiplying. So what I'm going to do is take the cross product being 7 times 4 is 28, and I'm going to equal it to the other cross product. So this is 5 times x plus 3. I'm writing it with parentheses just to make sure that I remember to distribute the 5 to both the x and the 3. So I'm going to set cross products equal. Okay? I set my cross products equal, and now I solve like a regular equation. So now I get to distribute my 5, and I get 5x plus 15 equals 28. I can subtract the 15. So now 5x is equal to 13. And then I divide by 5. And I get that x is equal to 13 over 5. Okay? Now, one way I can check my work, and I want to show you guys this because you have your calculators as a tool. So I'll bring the calculator up and we can check together. All right, so if I bring up my calculator, we're going to take a look because I know I want 7 divided by, and then I want x plus 3 in my denominator. Well, since I know that x is going to be, let's take a look. X is 13 over 5. Oops, there it is. I'm going to take the 13 over 5. 13 divided by 5. And it's x plus 3. So I'm going to add 3 and close my parentheses. So now I have 13 divided by 5 plus 3 is 1.25. I want to make sure that that is equal to the other side of my equation. So if I look back, the other side is 5 over 4. So let me go back to my calculator and let's put in 5 divided by 4. And it shows a match. So both sides equal 1.25, and I know that I did the problem correctly. So I'm going to go back to my full screen. What I'm really looking at is that 1.25 is equal to 1.25, so I know that I did that problem correctly. We're going to do number 2 the same way. I'm going to take the cross product of 5 multiplied by 2x plus 1, and I will set it equal to the other cross product, which is 1 times 4 minus x. That 1 isn't going to make a difference, but I'll keep it there just in case. So again, let me grab my green just to show that I'm distributing, and I will get 10x plus 5 is equal to 4 minus x, and now I can solve like a normal equation, right? I can add my x to the other side. I can also subtract my 5. So that leaves me with negative 1, and it leaves me with 11x. And I can solve by dividing by 11. So x is equal to negative 1 divided by 11. All right. Again, if I want to check, I'll take negative 1 over 11, and I'll place that into the x. So 2 times negative 1 over 11 plus 1. That should be equal to 5 divided by 4 minus negative 1 over 11. Okay? If those work out, then I know I did my problem correctly. Number 3 and 4, well, 3 is very similar as well, so we'll go through this one relatively quickly. I'm going to take, again, my cross product, so 2 multiplied by x minus 4, and I want to set it equal to the other cross product, which is 3 multiplied by 4 minus x. If I distribute, I'm going to get 2x minus 8. Distribute on the other side, and I have 12 minus 3x. Again, at this point, I'm ready to just move my x's together. So I'm going to add 3x to both sides. And while I'm at it, I'm going to add the 8 to both sides. So that means I now have 5x on the left. My 8's add up to 0. And I have 20 on the right-hand side. If I divide by 5, x will equal 4. So now, here's my check. I'm going to take the 4, and I'm going to substitute it back in. So 2 divided by 4 minus 4. And 3 divided by 4, because I'm substituting 4 in for x, minus 4. What I wind up with is 2 over 0 is equal to 3 over 0. Even though I did this problem correctly and I got x equals 4, the problem is when you divide by 0, you get an undefined answer. When we graph rational functions, we're going to talk more about this. However, you can't divide by 0 in math. So when you get an undefined answer, even though that answer was done mathematically correctly, it does not actually work because we cannot divide by 4, so it's actually not mathematically correct, all right? So even though we did that one perfectly, when I went back to check, we did not actually get a correct answer there, okay? So we always want to double check our work, and for solving equations, it's going to require us to substitute our answer back into the original equation, okay? All right, and then number 4 looks a little bit different. And the reason why number 4 looks a little different is because if you happen to look at the left-hand side, right here, of the equal sign, it's not just one fraction. It's 2 separate fractions. So what we're going to have to do first is find our common denominator for the left-hand side. So right now, we have set up x over 6 on the right-hand side. That can stay there. We don't need to do anything with the right-hand side. However, with the left-hand side, I need to find a common denominator. Right now I have 1 over 4 minus x, but x doesn't have a denominator right now, so I can't really add 1/4 and negative x together. That won't work. So this is where we've been talking about our LCD, our least common denominator. Right now, the denominator for x is just 1. So in order for me to have a common denominator, I'm going to want to have 1, and I'll want to have 4. That means my least common denominator is just going to be 4. Okay? So right now, 4 is already the denominator for 1/4. So that means I need to multiply this fraction by 4 over 4. That's going to give me 1 over 4 minus 4x over 4 is equal to x divided by 6. The reason why I did that is because now I can take this left-hand side and I can make it one fraction. So now I have 1 minus 4x divided by 4 is equal to x divided by 6. And now it's set up just like all the other problems have been that we've done to this point, the last 3 problems that we've done. So let's go ahead, and now we're ready to do step 2, which is going to be to solve. Okay? So when we solve, again, we take the cross products. So I'm going to take 6 times 1 minus 4x, and I'm going to take 4 times x. And now I'm ready just to solve like normal. So I'm going to pick up my green, and I'll distribute 6 minus 24x equals 4x, and I can solve for x by adding 24 to both sides. I get 28x equals to 6. Divide by 28. All right, and then I wind up getting x is equal to, well, 6 over 28 is going to come out to 3 over 14, or you can provide the decimal equivalent as well. All right, so we had to do a little bit of work on that one in order to get common denominators before we could actually do our cross multiplication. So 5 and 6 are very similar as well. If you notice, Number 5, I do not have a common denominator, so I'm going to need to find my common denominator. My least common denominator, I need an x, and I need a 4. So we are going to make our common denominator 4x. I'm going to keep my 7/8 because that is the right-hand side of the equation, and that has nothing to do with the left at the moment. So if I have 1 over x, and I have 3 over 4, we're asking what do I need in order to find the common denominator. So if my common denominator is 4x, that means the left-hand fraction needs the 4, and the right-hand fraction needs the x, okay? So step 1, I need to find my common denominator and rewrite my fraction. If I rewrite, I now have 4 over 4x plus 3x divided by 4x. Okay? And again, I'll simplify that so that I just have one fraction on the left-hand side of the equation and one fraction on the right-hand side. So now I have 4 plus 3x over 4x equals 7/8. Now I'm ready for step 2. Step 2 allows me to actually cross multiply. So here is my cross multiplication. 8 multiplied by 4 plus 3x is equal to 7 times 4x, and now is the time that I can actually simplify and, well, solve like I would normally do. So I'm going to pick up the green, distribute. 32 plus 24x is equal to 28x. Let me subtract the 24x from both sides, and I will divide by 4. Okay? So x is equal to 8 in this case. All right, I'm going to move this one down just a bit so we have a little bit more space. For our last problem, we are going to do the same thing. However, what you'll notice is that this denominator right here can be factored. So if I factor x squared plus x minus 6, I get, let's see, I can use a 3 and a 2, negative 2 and a positive 3. That will work. So when I'm looking for my least common denominator, oops, I'll use blue for this. Okay? When I'm looking for my least common denominator, I will want at least the x minus 2, and I'll also need the x plus 3. I'll need one of each of those because I need to make sure I have enough to make both denominators. All right, so now I'm going to go into my rewriting step. Here we go. I have 5 over x minus 2, and then I have 3 divided by, I'm going to put the factored form, x minus 2 and x plus 3 is equal to, what do I have there? Oops. I believe it's a 1. Yes, it's a 1. Okay, so it's equal to 1. I need to get the common denominator, so this is like we were doing last class. I'm going to multiply this fraction by the x plus 3 because it needs that x plus 3 in order to have common denominator. So now I have, give ourselves some space here, I have 5 multiplied by x plus 3 in the numerator, plus 3, and then I have my common denominator of x plus 3 and x minus 2. I didn't have to do anything to the right fraction because it already had what we needed in the denominator for the common denominator, so I don't need to multiply it by anything extra, all right? Go ahead and pause the video here to try to simplify and find x. If I cross multiply, I wind up setting the left-hand side, the denominator equal to the numerator, because it multiplies by 1, and I will have to FOIL everything out, factor it again, and then set my factors equal to 0. Think about how we might also do this one in the calculator.